This particular cathedral on the West Coast will be as important to the Catholic Church as St. Patrick's Cathedral is on the East Coast. It will be a center for evangelization going forward, and so we're very pleased to be a part of it.
We actually began the construction on the renovation in June of 2017, and we have made great progress since then.
What we have here is 1 million pounds of scaffolding that goes on this floor, and it's all been erected by basically 12 men, starting in late July, and here we are April of 2018. The scaffold that we put in is sort of like an erector set. You can set it up any way you want, and it's got a lot of flexibility where we put in dance floors at certain elevations, and then we build scaffold on top of that with stairs in it. At its peak, it's 120 feet, which roughly comes out to a 9-story building.
The predella, another word for that is platform, if you will, and this is the platform upon which the altar will be built. So the concrete for the predella has been formed. It will eventually be clad in stone, and on that will be built the altar, and then the cathedra, the bishop's chair. The quatrefoils are like metal sails that will be white, and they will be hanging from the structure, and they'll allow different degrees of sunlight to come in during the day. So they will measure the sunlight. They will also help us to control the temperature. Also, they will help us acoustically, and then all the lights in the cathedral will hang behind the quatrefoils.
What we've done in the last couple months is started the stonework on the walls. It's pretty intricate. It comes from different parts of the world, and then we've been putting it up on the wall. It's been mechanically fastened to the wall. There's a couple of plates on each piece of stone, and then it's drilled in an epoxy, and then it's cemented onto the wall. And this is all to help with the sound of the organ and the reverb in the buildings. There's a lot that goes together with the organ. There's several rooms even below in the undercroft that are blower rooms that suck in the air and then distribute the air, and then there's different chambers that compress the air and speed it up even. It's not just the pipes that do it, and there's a lot of electronics that go with it. One of the things we did to have the organ tested was with your consultant is they brought in an ex-police officer with a shotgun, and they did a shotgun test to see what the reverb was inside the building, and it passed with flying colors. The altar came from Italy. They manufactured it over there and did all the cutting over there. It's Carrara marble, came out of the mountains there in Italy. With the altar top, even though it's one piece of stone as a top, it's actually 4 different triangles put together from the same piece of stone. Bishop was very instrumental in picking out the stone. That way he could see how it was going to come together, the sizing, which way the stone was flipped, and put together the 4 pieces. And the Ambo itself was cut from the same stone as the altar. It was one big massive piece, and then they cut all the different pieces from that one big piece. The Ambo's purpose is for whoever's going to be reading the Word of God up there to be able to just have a space to stand and be heard from.
We have planned a number of places where there will be sacred art in our renovated cathedral. Part of the sacred art is what is called the crux gemmata, which means a cross that will have precious stones in it, and then of course it will be a crucifix. It will be hanging from a structure called the baldachin, which will be a kind of a square structure hanging from the cathedral, so the crucifix will be suspended over the main altar and give it great prominence.
The cross approximately weighs 1,000 pounds. It's in 4 sections. It's all bolted together, and then the gems are glued on the front face and on the back face with the crown with gems in it, and then they'll put the corpus on the cross as well. It's made out of wood, but it looks like ivory stone. It's a very decorative art piece of Christ.
The artwork has been installed on the great Festal doors.
The first part is emptiness, then the hands of God, and they create the cosmos, then Adam and Eve, the garden, then there's the serpent, Eve eating the apple, then the Cain and Abel story, and then the sacrifice of Isaac.
The Blessed Sacrament Chapel is on the east side of the cathedral. In the center is the Weinert Tabernacle, and that was on display in the Cultural Center Becoming Christ Cathedral exhibit for several years. The Weinert Tabernacle was acquired thanks to the good work of Monsignor Art Holquin, as well as Brother William Woger, who's our liturgical consultant on the transformation of Christ Cathedral itself.
We have perforated panels on the walls. They kind of act in two ways. One is there's a bunch of different size holes that create the illusion of being in clouds. And the other one is those holes have sound material on the back to absorb sound, so it'll cut down on the noise that is in the room so that it'll be better for prayer time and just reflection.
The baptistry is in octagonal shape, and that's by design. It's for the 7 days of creation, and then the 8th day, of course, being the beginning of new life and the starting fresh.
Also in the baptistry, we have the perforated panels, similar to what we have in the chapel. In the baptistry, they zigzag back and forth, but they're the same perforated holes that vary in size to create the illusion of being in clouds.
The baptismal font is in the shape of a cross, and it is a mosaic. And then in the center of the mosaic is another mosaic that's for Alpha and the Omega, of course, the beginning and the end of time.
When the cathedral was originally built by Robert Schuler, Marshall Company was the vendor that put the original pews in. And now since the Catholic Diocese bought it, it's come full circle and we're doing it again. There's 135 pews on the main floor. So there's approximately 1,591 feet of pews on the main floor. There's roughly almost 1,800 feet of pews in all three balconies. So there's roughly 3,200 feet of pews within the entire cathedral.
It's wonderful to see these beautiful pews. We have been dreaming about them for years. They're empty now, but in not too long of a time they will be filled with people, and they will be beautiful pews when they're filled with people.